humanitarian aid near the Wadi Gaza bridge. This is now a daily occurrence. Why has Israel chosen an aid delivery mechanism which has seen hundreds of people killed? Because it's designed to funnel tens of thousands of people through a front line to get food.
Good morning, Ione. Good to be with you. Just to be clear, those are Hamas figures. They're a terrorist organization. The BBC, till this day, refuses to call them a terrorist organization. It's a terrorist organization that savagely murdered 1,200 of my people. They raped our women. They mutilated our women. They beheaded our men, and they burnt our babies. They are a terrorist organization. Nothing that they tell you, that you repeat.
Let's be clear, though, David. This is not just the Hamas-run health ministry. This is also medics, eyewitnesses, hospitals. We've seen images from hospitals reporting these scenes.
All the information that you get out of Gaza is cleared by Hamas. Whether they're doctors or medics, it's cleared by Hamas. For the simple reason that is, if you say anything against the Hamas regime, your life will be ended by Hamas. And the BBC needs to make that precisely clear.
Well, it is not just the Hamas-run health ministry reporting these figures. It is also medics, it is eyewitnesses, it is hospitals reporting these scenes.
You are unable to say anything against the Hamas regime because your life will be ended by the Hamas regime. That is a fact. That is a fact in Gaza. So everything which comes out of Gaza reported, which you say as fact, is not fact. It is Hamas propaganda.
Well, part of the problem is international journalists aren't allowed in by the Israeli government to report on this on the ground. But I want an answer to that question I initially asked. The UN aid delivery system didn't force people to queue for this front line to get food, didn't see hundreds dying. Why have you chosen this aid delivery mechanism, which is seeing people dying every single day?
Again, this is another untruth. There have not been hundreds of people dying. Just look at this logically for a second, Ione. Why would Israel push hundreds of thousands of millions of tons of aid into Gaza, then to carry out those acts which you've accused us of? It simply doesn't make sense. And let me tell you Israel's objective. It is to remove Hamas from the aid delivery process. Hamas was stealing the aid. They were charging people. You know, Ione, Gazans should get this aid for free. It is their right. It is their right to have this aid for free. Hamas was stealing the aid, charging them exorbitant prices after enriching themselves.
Why is this system being boycotted then by all humanitarian agencies who have decades of experience providing aid?
Decades of experience of propping up the Hamas regime. That's what this is about. It's about vested interests. We are starting something new here. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, separate from Israel, but supported by us and our American allies, makes a very clear distinction. It wants to get the aid directly to the people and get Hamas out of the equation because Hamas uses the funds which they raise to pay for its terrorism.
In the 12 days of this war between Israel and Iran, we've had reports that more than 860 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces, many of whom waiting for aid. And as I've stressed there, it's not just the Hamas-run health ministry, it's also medics, eyewitnesses, hospitals reporting these scenes. And it's also worth stressing the ministry's figures are used by the UN, foreign diplomats, even, according to reports in Israel, the country's own intelligence services at times. So how can you justify this? Are you seriously saying that none of those people have been killed?
The BBC, unfortunately, have a rotten record when it comes to
But
Gaza.
I'd like to know, are you denying that any of those people have been killed?
Well, this is very important because you are using undiluted Hamas propaganda. This is the fact. You are using undiluted Hamas propaganda because the BBC...
Her husband had just been killed. The look of despair in her eyes. Immediately after, I'm talking to a mum who is watching her little boy die in front of her because he's denied medical evacuation. Or I think of little Rehab I met who said, and I'll read it, they killed my mother. I used to be beautiful. Now I cannot wash. What do you want me to say? What is there to say in the face of such pain? Such pain here in Gaza and such impunity everywhere else. Sorry. Yep, maybe that's it. Sorry.
Slowly dying.
The Israeli government won't allow ITV News and other media into Gaza.
But a team of volunteer doctors has kept diaries for us. Too often, a record of despair.
He looks like an old age, an old age.
Israel insists it doesn't target children or any civilians. It says Hamas hides even in hospitals, and the wards of Nasser have not been spared attack. The sound of Israeli drones is a constant companion for British surgeon Goher Rabor.
Who use schools and hospitals as command centres, essentially as shields for their activities. And, you know, I've been not in Gaza, but in similar zones, and that is not an uncommon thing. Have you seen any evidence of that in Gaza?
I can only speak for the hospitals, but I've never treated or seen anyone in any of the hospitals that I've worked in military uniform or with a weapon. The only people I've ever seen in Gaza with military uniforms and weapons are the IDF.
Maybe for some we have the wrong nationality, the wrong faith, the wrong skin color. But we are humans, and we should be treated as such. Is there a UN charter for Israel that is different from the charter you all have? Tell us. Is there an international law for them, an international law for us? Do they have the right to kill, and the only right we have is to die? What the hell does Israel need to do more for this council to act under Chapter 7? What more can they do for this council to act under Chapter 7? Or will this council be the last place on earth that cannot recognize a threat to peace when they see it? When it is so glaring, so undeniable? You are witnessing the attempt to annihilate a nation, destroy a nation. It is not even hidden. It is in plain sight.
Waste of resources. The head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees says it's a distraction and that there's already an aid system ready to go in Gaza being run by UNRWA. Philippe Lazzarini saying his team must be allowed to do their work and that the clock is ticking towards famine. Israel says an alternative to the current aid system is needed to stop Hamas stealing aid. This is something that Hamas denies. Our Middle East correspondent Yolande has more.
We know that basically a large number of people, hundreds of thousands according to some estimates, started heading towards this centre which is in Rafah in the very south of the Gaza Strip, in an area that's under full Israeli military control. There had been reports, word had got to them that some Palestinians had managed to successfully get these food boxes despite some of the Hamas threats that had been circulating, despite the fact that they had been very worried about the Israeli security controls there. And that really led to a rush on the centre.
So first of all, give us a sense of just how desperate the situation is there for people in Gaza right now. I know you've reported from there extensively, and how does it compare to the last time you were there?
Yeah, well, you know, any humanitarian today will tell you that we're really at the worst we've ever been at in Gaza. That's because of multiple reasons, because of the ongoing relentless bombardments. It's because people who are starved and try to get their hands on aid are being shot at. It's because of increasing hunger, and as temperatures increase.
Torma, former Mossad intelligence boss, says they had to choose between national security and globally accepted standards of morality.
I think that the war in Gaza brought us to a very serious moral dilemmas. What is first? The security of our people or the moral international laws that we were abiding for many, many years? Yes, there is a dilemma. I'm not going to escape it. There is a dilemma.
Note that past tense, moral international laws that we were abiding by for many years. So, if he were still advising the Prime Minister now, what would he say?
If I am again an intelligence officer in a position that I have to make a recommendation to my Prime Minister, I would say, stop it. Stop it by now. we achieved enough.
Would you? You'd say stop it.
Stop it by now.
In Gaza?
Absolutely. On the spot.
As my colleague from the FAO will explain, every single one of the 2.1 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip face the risk of famine. 1 in 5 face starvation, despite the fact that you have funded the food that could save them. The few hospitals that have somehow survived bombardment are overwhelmed. The medics who have somehow survived drone and sniper attacks cannot keep up with the trauma and the spread of disease.
Gunshots ring out. Children scream in terror. There's chaos, panic. Help us, God, help us, O Arabs, he screams.
This is my grandson. I don't know where his mother is. He's just 20 days old. What can I do with him now? Where can I go with him? Where can I find his mother and father? Please tell me where to search. We're tired. We can't cope anymore.
The stream of people fleeing looks endless. Close to 500,000 Gazans ordered to leave their already destroyed homes by the Israeli army as they launch a fresh assault on Khan Yunis, accusing Hamas of firing rockets from the area. A brother pulls along his sister, too weak to walk. Little legs struggle to keep up in the heat. An elderly woman sits down on the side of the road. Is it better to die here than keep on running and running? Amongst the crowd, 3 young siblings. We saw many people who were dead in front of us. Their stomachs were cut open, he says. We don't know where our parents are now. Are we in a safe place now, one asks. Thank God, he sighs. But where to go now? The so-called humanitarian zone Israel has told them to flee to has been repeatedly targeted too. Practically Gaza's entire population has been displaced, time and time again. This is the fate of those who couldn't escape in time. Patients sprawled on the floor of an overwhelmed hospital. Helpless parents look on. Outside in the courtyard, the grief is too much to bear. Bodies taken away to...
So first of all, give us a sense of just how desperate the situation is there for people in Gaza right now. I know you've reported from there extensively, and how does it compare to the last time you were there?
Yeah, well, you know, any humanitarian today will tell you that we're really at the worst we've ever been at in Gaza. That's because of multiple reasons, because of the ongoing relentless bombardments. It's because people who are starved and try to get their hands on aid are being shot at. It's because of increasing hunger and as temperature.
And there's no aid getting in, so you've got no winter clothing.
Right.
As I said, my friends are not asking me for mobile phones and laptops anymore. They're asking for jumpers for 3-year-olds and shoes for 5-year-olds. So you can see how the tables are turning now. And it's just disastrous. If you don't die of a blast injury, you are going to die from exposure or malnutrition or infection.
The few hospitals that have somehow survived bombardment are overwhelmed. The medics who have somehow survived drone and sniper attacks cannot keep up with the trauma and the spread of disease. Even today, the European Gaza hospital in Khan Yunis was bombed again, with even more civilian casualties reported. I can tell you from having visited what's left of Gaza's medical system that death on this scale has a sound and a smell that does not leave you. As one hospital worker described it, children scream as we peel burnt fabric from their skin. And yet we hear that we did all we could.